Back in the garage for a little bit.
Oh yeah!
Didn't really film anything this weekend. You can yell at me if you want to, but it just didn't happen. I was out here working. What I did get done was probably one of the most difficult metalworking parts I've done on this frame so far. So I got a plate all the way in here. It's one piece. That was a real treat. Got the plate up here. Again, a treat. And I also got the one back here. So everything, all three pieces are one piece, did not break them. That should help a little bit with the strength, I hope. I also got side pieces in on both sides. So all I have left to do is the spring pockets and the sides here. So I need to make a plate for this, box all this in up here all the way around, and then I'm flipping this sucker. Okay, and then we're gonna flip the whole freaking frame, and we're gonna do the whole bottom side. I'm ready for the frame to be done. Running out of steel. I used that sucker up. So, sorry, I didn't film. Almost done with the top side of the frame. Flip it over, do the bottom. Probably a couple hours. Be done with it. So ready to move on from the frame. If I could rewind time, I probably wouldn't have went this crazy with the frame. I wouldn't have moved the mounts so far. I wouldn't have made the trailing arms all crazy. I probably wouldn't have. I hope I'm glad I did, but I probably wouldn't have, knowing what I know now. Because I would have been on the bodywork by now, and this car would have been fairly close to being done if I didn't do all that stuff, but whatever. That's where we're at. Ton of excuses on why I didn't film anything, but mainly because it's difficult for me to film and do the metal work. So it didn't happen. So that's why I'm out here talking to you guys. Let's talk, okay? Somebody asked me a cool question. I thought I'd put this on video. Asked me a question on Facebook. What got me into lowriders? So this will start a little conversation. I want you guys to put in the comments what got you into lowriders. I mean, the one moment that got you into lowriders. For me, I was into cars at a really young age, like obsessively into cars at a young age. I'm still. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know, something's off up here, like way off. But my dad kind of got me into the cars. We'd sit on the porch and he'd name off every single car that drove down the road. He could tell me the year, make, and model of the car. I always thought that was so cool. So that kind of got me interested in them. And then I remember watching a Smart Guy. Anybody remember the show Smart Guy that was on Disney Channel? I was watching one of their, I remember that, like something clicked in my head when I was watching this. I remember an episode where they were fixing an old car out in the driveway, the two older brothers. And they turned on the radio, like they were just working on this car. They had on like overalls or something. They'd been working on this car, and the only thing they got accomplished was the radio turned on. And they were all so happy that the radio turned on. That scene, for some reason, got me really into wanting to work on cars. I remember sitting in my room watching that scene, and it like clicked, like that looks like it'd be fun. It's the dumbest thing ever, but that's what actually got me into wanting to work on cars, was that stupid scene of that show. I was kind of into imports at first as a kid. I would go to the movies on Sunday when I was like 10, 11, 12. I go to the movies every Sunday by myself. I know, it's kind of sad, but I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I'd go to the movies, and I remember going to the Fast and the Furious 7 or 8 Sundays in a row to that movie. And that was just like, ugh. That kind of did it for me. So I was into the import scene probably just because of that movie. I thought they were really cool. There really wasn't any movies that had strictly like, was about lowriders like that. I remember watching Friday and Boys in the Hood and stuff like that, and that kind of caught my attention with the lowriders, like what they could be and what they did. That was like my first glimpse of it. But there really wasn't any movies that were strictly about lowriders that I knew of at that time. So, but then my grandma took me to a car show. They had a car show at Hardee's burger joint, might be Carl's Jr., wherever you're at. I remember looking at all the cars, like, man, these things are really sweet. In Iowa, it's a lot of hot rod, loud pipes, and motors, a lot of that stuff. And I remember thinking they were all really cool. And just like if you go to like a Good Guys car show or something, you see all those $100,000 muscle cars and all that. They're all cool. But then I remembered the lowriders started coming in. I mean, they just started. This guy named BJ Lyons, he was the one I remember. He had a red Ford Taurus. Get this, Ford Taurus, right? Super sweet car. No one that I know of has ever done a Ford Taurus like this. Euro lowriders were very popular around here. They might have been everywhere, but in the early 2000s, late 90s, Euro lowriders was the thing to have. So I remember seeing all of them pulling in, and I was just like, whoa. None of the other cars mattered at that point. Everything else was old news. The lowriders took all my attention from that point. So I was probably 12 or 13 when I seen them. And since I seen those, I enjoyed the imports and like the go fast things, but my main focus was lowriders at that point. When I was 13, my grandpa passed away, and I lived with my grandparents. My grandpa passed away, and my grandma gave me his car, which was a 93 Ford Thunderbird. Super clean, 33,000 miles. So this was back in, I think, 02, 01. So it was a really clean, beautiful car. Took very good care of it. Always maintained it, everything to a T. She gave me that, and I'm like, lowrider, lowrider, lowrider. Start hacking that thing up. Sorry, Grandpa. But that's what I did. I didn't have it very long. I took it to Best Buy, first thing, took it to Best Buy. Got some slaps on deck. I mean, big slaps. And I took it to our local hydraulic guru, Pookie. Wanted him to install hydraulics, because that's the thing to have. He had my car for a month, and he told me it's impossible. Can't do it. Can't put hydraulics on it because it has struts in the front. I don't want to hear that, Pook. I need my thing it needs to do this. It needs to, has to. I don't know. What you gotta do? Figure it out. He said we could put airbags on it. I'm like, if it'll do this and I got switches, I'm down. Let's do it, Poop. So about $4,000 or $5,000 later, I was able to do this a little bit, a little slower than that. It was like, shh, shh, shh. That was kind of the speed. Got that, and I was rolling. Put some 14s on it even back then. 14s all day. If you're gonna judge, doors over there. So I've been rolling 14s forever. Got some 14s on it. Had my grandma help me out with the interior. We did some black and purple crushed velvet inside. We even put a bar in the back seat coming down, like a center console with a Bacardi bottle. I had no idea what kind of liquor was cool. My grandma had this in her closet. Bacardi bottle in the back with 2 shot glasses and a dice table, and I was going off all the thug imagery that I had in my head, what was cool. So she hooked that up for me, and I took that thing to Hardy's car show every Friday. When I was 14, I got my permit. She would go riding with me, my grandma, and she'd sit in the back, of course, you know, so I don't look like a total nerd, but she liked it. It's kind of a bad deal to make your grandma sit in the back, but now that I'm thinking about it. But I had, I wanted to look cool. And yeah, that was me, man. That was my first taste of a custom car, and I loved it. I would say she would even let me drive to Hardy's, because it was only like 3 miles away from my house. She'd let me drive there on Fridays by myself. Super illegal now that I'm thinking about it. Man, that was the most at peace I think I've ever been, was driving that car. Especially at night, man. You had the neon lights glowing, music, hitting switches, windows down. Perfect. That was what really got me hooked. And since then, I haven't been able to give it up. I dropped out of it for a while, as much as you can really drop out of it. I dropped out of like owning custom cars for a while. I just couldn't afford it. My grandma passed away when I was 18, so I had to find a place to live and do everything on my own. Bills, and all that stuff, which isn't fun. Bills aren't fun. And it took me a while to get some traction, to get enough money to be able to do something for myself again or do something cool. I always did stuff for myself, you know. I'm not saying like I didn't have anything, but I never had enough income to build a custom car or a place to do it. I didn't have a garage before this house. So I'm back. I'm 28 now, so if you want to know the time frame here, I'm 28. So it's been about, since I've had a custom car like that, it's been about 12 years. I bought a few over the years, but the only reason why I would buy them is just because I had a little extra money. I'd buy them kind of as a savings account, just to hold my money without me spending it on something stupid. So it was easier for me to buy a car and let the car hold my money, and then when I needed the money, I would sell the car. That way I could enjoy some things. I was able to enjoy a few lowriders. Had a town car, I had an S10, I had an old Lincoln, like a 80s Lincoln with 13s. I'm cool. Lowrider. Cool, yeah, 13s. So yeah, I've had some stuff in the past, but this Lincoln's the first time I've been able to actually build something for myself and not have plans of flipping it or selling it, just being able to own it and enjoy it. So that's really cool. I hope everybody gets that chance to be able to build something for themselves and keep it. It's a lot of fun. Some days it sucks. Okay, some days it's real terrible. But most of the time it's pretty good. So that's my lowrider story. I want to hear yours. Leave it in the comments. And if you guys got any questions for me or anything you want to see on camera or have me talk about, you know, in detail, kind of like this, leave that in the comments too. And we'll make some sort of crap video about it. You know, I'm not very good at talking or videoing, but you know, if you got a question, I'll answer it. I'll probably be wrong, so be prepared for that. But I'll give you something. Something will come out of my mouth. I'll put it on camera. Make a video. Bam! YouTube. That's how it works.